We see them every day. They are the teachers shaping the minds of our children. They are the nurses holding our hands in hospital corridors. They are the firefighters rushing toward danger when everyone else is running away. These are our public servants, the essential pillars holding up the framework of our communities. They dedicate their lives to the common good, performing jobs that are not just careers but callings. We trust them with our health, our safety, and our future. Their work is invaluable, a daily contribution to the functioning of society that often goes unnoticed until we are in a moment of crisis. We expect them to be there for us, professional and capable, no matter the circumstances. But behind the uniform and the professional demeanor lies a story that is rarely told. It is a story of quiet struggle, of financial precarity that gnaws at the edges of their lives. These individuals, who we depend on for so much, often live on the brink themselves. They are not asking for wealth or luxury. They are simply trying to secure the basic necessities of a stable life. A secure home, enough food for their families, the ability to see a doctor when they are sick. The very stability they provide for society is often a distant dream for them. Their paychecks, stretched thin by rising costs, barely cover the essentials, leaving little room for emergencies or a comfortable existence. This is the central paradox of public service. Society places an immense value on the work these individuals do, yet it often fails to compensate them in a way that reflects that value. A teacher might spend their own money on classroom supplies, while a paramedic worries about making rent on time. This gap between their societal importance and their personal financial reality creates a constant low-level hum of anxiety. It is a burden they carry in silence, often hidden from the very public they serve. This isn't just about numbers on a pay stub, it's about the daily stress of making ends meet while performing some of the most demanding jobs imaginable. The problem is systemic and widespread. It affects people in cities and small towns, in every corner of the country. We celebrate these workers as heroes, putting them on pedestals during national emergencies or appreciation weeks. Yet this celebration often feels hollow when it isn't backed by tangible support. The applause fades, but the bills remain. The hidden financial struggles of public servants are not just a personal problem for a few individuals. They are a crack in the foundation of our communities. It is a silent crisis that affects their ability to do their jobs effectively and live with the dignity they so clearly deserve. The financial struggle for a public servant is not a dramatic one-time event. It is a slow, grinding reality made up of 1,000 small cuts. It is the teacher who skips their own lunch to make sure they have enough money for their children's school trip. It is the social worker who drives a car with a sputtering engine, praying it doesn't break down on the way to a crucial home visit. These are not choices made out of carelessness. They are calculated decisions born of necessity. Every dollar is accounted for, every expense weighed. The joy of a simple pleasure, like going out for dinner or buying a new book, is often replaced by the anxiety of a potential overdraft fee. Healthcare, a basic human right, becomes a luxury they often cannot afford. A nurse might recognize the early signs of an illness in themselves, but delay seeing a doctor because of the high co-pay. They spend their days caring for the sick, all while neglecting their own health because the cost is too great. A toothache is endured with over-the-counter painkillers. A persistent cough is dismissed as just a cold. This delay in seeking care means that minor issues can escalate into serious, more expensive health problems down the line. It is a cruel irony that those on the front lines of public health are often the ones with the least access to it themselves. Housing insecurity is another constant worry. The dream of home ownership is out of reach for many, replaced by the instability of renting. A sudden rent increase can throw an entire family's budget into chaos, forcing them to consider moving, uprooting their children from schools, and leaving the community they serve. The stress of finding an affordable place to live in the very city they work to protect is immense. For an emergency worker, living far from their station due to high housing costs can mean a longer commute, adding another layer of exhaustion to an already strenuous job. The home should be a sanctuary, but for many, it is just another source of financial anxiety. The struggle extends to every corner of life, impacting their ability to plan for the future. Saving for retirement feels like an impossible task when the current paycheck barely covers the present. Putting money aside for a child's education becomes a source of guilt and stress. The constant mental calculus of "can I afford this?" is exhausting. It drains their energy, diverts their focus, and chips away at their sense of security. This is the daily reality for many of our most essential workers. A life lived on the edge, where one unexpected car repair or medical bill can trigger a full-blown financial crisis. The persistent stress of financial insecurity is not just a mental burden, it takes a significant toll on physical health. The human body is not designed to be in a constant state of high alert. When you are constantly worried about money, your system is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol. This can lead to a host of physical ailments. Media group. Close-up of person massaging temples or head, man taking pills at kitchen table at stock at distribute. _ equally. High blood pressure, chronic headaches, digestive problems, and a weakened immune system. A teacher who is already exposed to countless germs at school becomes even more susceptible to getting sick when their body is run down by stress. The physical exhaustion from working a demanding job is compounded by the sleepless nights spent worrying about bills. This relentless pressure inevitably leads to burnout, a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. For public servants, burnout is particularly dangerous. A burned-out nurse is more likely to make a medical error. A burned-out police officer may have a shorter fuse, affecting their judgment in high-stakes situations. It's not that they no longer care, it's that their capacity to care has been depleted by their own struggles. They are running on empty, trying to pour from a cup that has long been drained. The very compassion and dedication that drew them to public service become casualties of the overwhelming strain. Mental health suffers just as much, if not more. Anxiety and depression are common companions for those living with financial precarity. The feeling of being trapped with no clear path to a better situation can be suffocating. A firefighter who faces life or death situations at work may find themselves unable to cope with the crushing weight of debt at home. The sense of helplessness can be overwhelming, leading to feelings of worthlessness and despair. They are expected to be resilient and strong for others, but they are given few resources to maintain their own mental well-being, especially when financial worries are the root cause. This mental and physical decline creates a vicious cycle. Poor health can lead to more medical bills and missed days of work, which in turn worsens their financial situation. The stress then increases, further damaging their health. It is a downward spiral that is incredibly difficult to escape. They are caught in a trap where the demands of their job and the pressures of their personal life feed into each other, creating a perfect storm of exhaustion and anxiety. The invisible wounds they carry are often the deepest, affecting not only their own lives, but also their ability to serve the community that depends on them. Society holds its public servants to a high standard, and not just in their professional duties. There is an unspoken expectation that they should be models of stability and respectability. A teacher is expected to be a pillar of the community, a nurse a beacon of calm competence, and a police officer an emblem of order. They are supposed to have their lives together. This public image is a heavy mantle to wear, especially when it clashes so violently with the private reality of their financial struggles. They are expected to project an aura of middle-class stability that their paycheck simply cannot support. This pressure to maintain appearances creates a profound internal conflict. How do you admit to a colleague that you can't afford to join them for lunch? How does a social worker advise a family on budgeting when they themselves are secretly visiting a food bank? The fear of judgment is immense. Admitting to financial hardship can feel like a professional failure, a sign that you are not as capable or put together as you are supposed to be. To protect their careers and their dignity, many public servants learn to wear a mask, hiding their worries behind a smile and a professional attitude. This performance is exhausting. The emotional toll of this deception is significant. Living a double life, one of public competence and one of private desperation, erodes self-esteem. It can make you feel like a fraud. The constant need to pretend everything is fine while you are internally panicking about making rent fosters a deep sense of isolation. You feel alone in your struggle, even if the person working next to you is going through the same thing. This isolation prevents them from seeking help or even talking about their problems, deepening the cycle of shame and anxiety. The conflict between who they are and who they are expected to be becomes a core source of unhappiness. Ultimately, we must recognize that this mask of respectability is a burden we have placed on them. We ask them to be heroes, but we fail to provide them with the financial security that would allow them to live with dignity. Their hidden struggles are a direct consequence of this societal hypocrisy. To truly honor our public servants, we must do more than just offer applause. We must look behind the uniform and the professional title and see the human being who is struggling to get by. Addressing their financial precarity is not an act of charity. It is a fundamental necessity for a healthy, functioning society.